Hey guys, and welcome back to the Better You podcast. I am, of course, Ian Bickle, your host, and I am here to talk a little bit about emotional conditioning. So, this is what's going to lead the way today. And I wanted to introduce this term to you because essentially, this is what this podcast is going to be about. Now, these episodes, maybe 5 minutes long, 10 minutes, maybe longer. Occasionally, I'm going to have little guests on here, but what I wanted this podcast really to be is a touch point for you, something for you to listen to that is going to help you process the change that maybe you're wanting to make in your life. And I coined this phrase emotional conditioning because essentially we have been conditioned and reconditioned to be exactly who we are right now. And if we want to be somebody different, then we're going to have to engage in behaviors that we're not currently doing. But also, we're probably going to have to think differently than we have been thinking. Can feel very, very challenging if you are almost this black sheep and you're looking around and thinking, you know what, I want to change, but it's very difficult because I'm part of the flock. I'm part of the culture, the collective. And there can this be this kind of dislink there that you yourself can feel. Now, the idea of these podcasts came around because I've been listening to podcasts and they are just so stripped back and easy. And they're just normal people talking, quirks and all. And I realized I was listening to these people and I'm thinking, I really like this person. And you know what? They're doing nothing other than being themselves. And I realized that I've been kind of stopping myself from maybe doing this sort of thing because of that thought of like, well, who am I? Who cares? And this speaks to a lot of the things that have held me back in the past. This genuine belief is that I wasn't good enough. And these are things that I have had to deal with throughout my life because I was conditioned. I conditioned myself to develop these belief systems. So this emotional condition occurred to me. Guess why? Because I'm human. I had a childhood. I had experiences. And as do you. Now, I work with people with binge and emotional eating and yo-yo dieting chronically. And guess what they've done over years and years and years? They have conditioned themselves, which has genuinely created a belief system around who they are. Now, the irony is with clients, we don't talk a lot about food and exercise. Yeah, there's parts of it, and that's the easy stuff. The challenging stuff is when people feel emotionally compromised, and usually they go down some automated behaviors that inevitably they would always go down once they were triggered emotionally. And that threshold may be different for everybody, but usually it's kind of what's the point thinking, fuck it mode. Sorry for the language, but I swear. But this emotional conditioning, this is the conditioning that they have inevitably found themselves in, and it gives them an outcome. And the reality is that we don't want these outcomes anymore. You want to change, right? And it can feel kind of like, right, I need to do something in order to change. And absolutely, we are motivated by this kind of what's called push motivation. This pain, this kind of realization is like, is this my life? Is this the rest of it? But then when people try and do something, they're fundamentally doing something that isn't who they are. And this is the difference, is you have to be someone, somebody else, a different identity. And your values really are important because what we have to look at is how these new behaviors add to your values. And when it comes to this emotional conditioning that I'm talking about, this is where you need to nurture and you need to support the direction that you're going in, because the path it's not laid out in front of you. We're kind of laying it as we go. Most people stay stuck because they want the path laid out already, but that's not real. That doesn't happen. Most people, most of my clients have done all of the diets because to their brain, the path is laid out. And the fact that other people have been successful with it creates this sense of security in their survival brain, in their heart. But the inevitable thing is they try it, it doesn't work for them. And here's the thing, you are only shown, you only see what you're shown, right? So you always see the before and after pictures. You never see the after pictures. You never see the long-term consequences. The diet industry, and there's a statistic out there, like 95% of diets fail. And the reality is they do, because this is the person doing something rather than being someone. I wanted these podcasts to be just super laid back. So you're driving in your car or you're out walking and you are on a journey of change. Your health, your business, your relationship, I don't care. It all stems from the same place. It's a lack of certainty that keeps us stuck. And what you need, what we need, is somebody there going, you can do this. You've got this. You are amazing. You are powerful. You are capable. And if people have had an upbringing where they've generated this belief system that they're none of those things, well, guess what? You've been emotionally conditioned. But the great thing is you can emotionally recondition. But what it requires is for you to start laying that path out in front of you. My service, my coaching program, my consultancy, whatever you want to call it, it is about getting people to adopt an attitude, a philosophy, a mentality, emotional resilience. Yes, to understand food, but it's more to understand themselves around food. Food is easy. Exercise, movement is easy. There's not really that much we can go through because, and here's the thing, most people probably already know as much as they need to know, probably too much. And this is where their wires are crossed. They're confused and conflicted. And they've tried everything. And they believe they've tried everything. They've emotionally conditioned themselves that they've tried everything. And the reality of the situation is, have you worked with me? Have you worked with every coach in the world, like decent coaches? Then the likelihood you haven't tried everything. And this is the difference between those that are successful and those that aren't. The unsuccessful people have tried everything and they quit. And they believe that this is a character flaw. This is who they are. They are meant to be this. And again, you are programming yourself to be this person versus the person who's tried and keeps trying, gets a bit better, gets closer to the answer, persevere. And that is the difference. And eventually, once you start to kind of funnel towards the correct answer, you've done this process of elimination also. So you have been laying the path as you go. And you've had to deviate. You've had to kind of, and I use this analogy in a call today, is occasionally you've hit a bit of a kind of, I don't know, a river, I don't know, but you've had to build a bridge. And it's taken a bit longer, and if you've never built a bridge before, but you built it as you went. But next time this problem occurs or something of similar, now you know how to build a bridge. So you build it a bit quicker. And then over time, it just happens automatically. And this is the difference. And this is the huge thing, is this is an automated thing that inevitably people have practiced time and time again, that often it just needs not even an actual trigger, but the thought of a trigger for people to go down the behaviors that they've always went down, the perception that things aren't right or perfect. And I want these podcasts to be like that guy in your corner going, hey, you've got this. If you're not working with me one-to-one, because I think about these podcasts and I'm like, what does that person, what does that lady need to hear between our sessions? Yeah, they've got access to us via voice notes and things, and the calls, It's not about the calls. It's the emotional conditioning to the subconscious that creates the results. So if I can, between those calls, just be that person there going, come on, you got this. And further that emotional condition and give people a skill set and a philosophy over the course of whether I'm working with them directly or podcasts like this that genuinely impacts them day to day. Now, this is the thing with emotional conditioning, and this is my last little point, is it requires, like any skill, like any art, like whether it's learning to play a musical instrument, whether it's learning to drive, it requires a ton of repetition for it eventually be the default programmed you. And if the default programmed you is resulting in you not being where you want to be, then that's okay. You just have to start learning a new skill. And my coaching is about coaching, which is training. It's training people on an emotional level, psychological, and yes, we have the biological aspect of food that's involved in that. But what so many clients realize is, holy shit, like, I thought this was just going to be a diet thing. And I'm like, no, this is everything. This is you in every aspect of your life. Are you ready to really change? That's the big question. This isn't a food problem. This isn't a diet problem. This isn't an exercise or movement problem. This is an identity problem. And we are emotionally conditioned to be who we think we are. And when you were a baby, you were a complete clean slate. Yeah, you have, like, obviously your genetic predispositions. That is just your genetic makeup. But the belief systems. Now, if you were born into a flat earth society culture, guess what? You'd go through life being conditioned time and time again by everything, and all the evidence would point you towards the earth is flat. Hopefully, we've got no flat earthers in here. And I'm here to break it to you, but I fully believe the world is round. And this is a strong belief, and I have a lot of evidence supporting that. But there is probably 0.0001% that I'm wrong. Okay, it's very unlikely. But I've been emotionally conditioned to believe that. And once upon a time, I believed in, now, actually, I'm not going to say that because it is around Christmas time. But yeah, I'm not going to say that. You probably know what I was going to say. But once upon a time, I believed in a certain person until you realize, well, that's not true. And it's okay to change your belief systems, but this requires you to be a little bit vulnerable and try different things. So this whole podcast is about you emotionally conditioning yourself to be a different version of you. And it's totally possible, but it requires you to make a commitment to change. Now, I would love for you to share this podcast around. I'm going to put in the links, my free Facebook group, which is Thrive. It helps people with binge, emotional eating, and yo-yo dieting. I'm also going to pop my diet scorecard in there. I'm also going to put in a link for a free 30-minute discovery call with myself. We can talk. It's not a salesy thing, all right? And it can go where it wants to go from there, all right? I believe that I'm here talking to you right now for a reason. I believe in destiny and fate. I am quite woo-woo with that sort of thing. I believe in energy, and I believe that we can change. And I believe that we can do what we truly want, but it does require us to be a little bit brave. It requires us to fundamentally, like, let go of the ego a little bit, ask for help, reach out. I've worked with mentors, coaches, psychotherapists, counselors on me personally to help emotionally condition me to be the best version of me. And the fact that I get to do that with other people is just a blessing. So if that sounds like you, just reach out. We can have a conversation and just take it from there. So thank you. Please like, please subscribe, please share, and catch you next time.